In Ray Dalio's new book, The Changing World Order, he breaks down how this period of time is similar to that of the 1930s to 1945s, in which a new world order came to be, with America on top. He goes into the reasons for this, and how the convergence of 1. Higher levels of debt and extremely low interest rates, 2. Large wealth and political gaps, leading to internal conflicts, and lastly, 3. A rising global power pushes the previous system to collapse. He goes into the factors that cause this from an economic perspective. The lowering of interest rates and the printing of money, all contributing. He also goes into what we can do to protect ourselves, mainly diversify. Who is this Ray Dalio, and should we take him seriously? Well, he isn't a professor, he isn't a historian, he isn't even a psychologist. However, he is one of the most prolific minds in economics and investing. He's helped many of the brilliant minds of today, including Bill Gates and Tony Robbins, and others. He's helped governments, the largest companies in the world, along with building one of the most successful investment firms to date, Bridgewater. He spent the first part of his life researching many of the fields mentioned earlier, and decided to take a big picture view of how the economic machine works. A link to his incredible video explaining it in simple terms will be in the description. As he tried, failed, and recovered, he built principles to define his criteria for making decisions about market fluctuations as well as his own life. Once his company was incredibly successful, he entered a new stage of life, one in which he would have a lesser role at Bridgewater, freeing him to give back to the world. He signed the Giving Pledge, along with other billionaires like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, stating that he'll give away the majority of his wealth by the end of his life. Then he wrote a book called Principles, which really impacted my life, where he put his life principles in one part and then his work principles in the next, intertwining a collage of principles that he believes led to his success, along with some luck, which he was prepared for when it showed up. All this to say that he's an incredible businessman and a very curious human being. He spent his life digging into the secrets of how the universe works, and it's proven to be a very valuable pursuit. Back to his latest research. For the past year and a half, he's been studying the history of economics, going back 500 years, especially relating to economic booms and busts. For his new book, he makes the comparison of how empires rose and fell to today's economy, showing how certain types of governments decide to capitalize on established governments' need for luxury and lower prices. Britain did this to the Dutch, becoming the power after. Then, the US colonies did this to Britain. And now China has been attempting to do the same to the US. He makes the argument that those alive while a government is rising usually have more willpower, discipline, and work ethic. They're more inventive and have better education. They're more unified and share a common vision. Once they become established, they lose these characteristics as the later generations take things more and more for granted and assume they'll always be on top. They become fragmented and lose their united vision. Is this what's happening to America now? Many of the most successful investors and economists believe we're headed for some type of crisis. There is, however, disagreement on what type of crisis and how impactful it will be. The reality is that interest rates are the lowest they've been since 2008, and in order to alleviate suffering from the coronavirus, we're printing money. The Federal Reserve is buying debt from companies as well as the government due to the giving of money to those who can't get it through traditional means. Ray Dalio argues that this, in effect, is causing inflation. The stock market at the moment does not reflect the economy. So what does he say we should do? He suggests diversifying your assets, which is always a good way to hedge your bets. However, in this climate, he suggests to go beyond traditional means. He suggests to hold 1% in commodities as well as gold to hedge inflation. Along the same lines, he strongly urges against holding cash. Our economy has been on a very solid streak, going up consistently since 2008. We're due for a correction. The economy works in cycles of recessions and depressions as part of a natural process. The way it's designed, it can't grow consistently forever, something we'll explore more in a later video. The question is, are we in a smaller recessionary cycle or a larger depressionary one? There's really no way of seeing into the future. The best we can do individually is to prepare for either. Then, collectively, we need to come together as a country, hopefully allowing us to make it out of this all right. Is it possible to re-establish a centralized vision to unite us all, as the American dream had once done so well? We need to reinvigorate that patriotism that pushed us to pull ourselves up from the bootstraps. Within our DNA lies the most adventurous and courageous of cultures, a melting pot of entrepreneurs looking to new opportunity. Can we unite and hold on to our position, or are we going to let ourselves fall? We must focus on education. The education of our young is one of the most important investments we can make for our future. An investment that we've forgotten about in recent years, dropping well below other countries, while China has been creating a force to be reckoned with. We must reinvent the system in which we educate our young. College is not as necessary these days. Trade schools and online classes can give us the tools to succeed. We must, however, teach our young the fundamentals as well as how to learn. What they learn is not as important. We must encourage them to learn and foster their strengths, while teaching them the self-discipline to buckle down and use their knowledge, to build, create, and invent the next era. We need more people like Elon Musk to build the future and inspire the next generations. Is it a coincidence that most of the entrepreneurs in America are immigrants? I think not. Immigrants realize that they were not born into this circumstance. They understand that it might not have been their life. They work harder than others to capitalize on the opportunity they've been blessed with. Ray Dalio breaks this success down into a few different steps. Set goals, identify problems, try, fail, and triangulate why you failed with smart people. And then, finally, iterate. We must realize what we have and hold on to it. Bring gratitude into your life, and you'll work harder. Bring a vision for your life, and you'll work smarter. I'm conducting my own research into the history of economics, going through courses as well as reading books about trade and its evolution into the modern-day system. I'll be creating a multi-part series on my findings. Subscribe and click the bell to stay up to date. Do you think we're headed for a Great Depression 2.0? Let me know in the comments. And as always, keep our curiosity alive.